this drug procurement program, it seems like they've made some changes. They made it a little bit in terms of the terms. It's a bit milder, but expanded nationwide. To what extent does this actually ease the concerns that investors had that this procurement program was going to drive down drug costs as well as profit margins?
Right. Thank you for having me today. Well, I think the biggest reason the market actually behaved so well last week, and plus the whole rally from the beginning of the year, is because the consolidation is actually coming. People are seeing it. In spite of the pricing pressure, obviously everyone knows generic drug need to cut price. But I mean, there are 4,000 pharmaceutical companies in China, and the government is using everything they can to eliminate probably 70% of those in the next 5 years or so. So imagine those top 10 companies in China, the domestic ones only contribute 15% of market share. Imagine half of the drugs just get cut price. However, the market share probably will get quadrupled, or probably 5 times higher.
So who wins then? So yeah, we put that statistic that you mentioned here on the chart. Top 10, 15%. The rest is what, 3,900 and something. In terms of who might be targets for M&A here, who might they be?
Correct. If you ask me, I would say most of those inferior small companies, they shouldn't be acquired. They should just be eliminated. And I think that's what the government is trying to say as well. So the government is helping the leaders to kill the smaller guys, for a reason.
What does this mean for foreign multinational pharma companies then? I mean, we saw in the pilot program, most of them lost out. I think there was only 2 that actually was winning some of these bids. Will they continue to lose out?
In the report, it's quite clear. We think generic drug market, it's already a gone game for the multinational companies. They have already made good money with the generic drugs, no patent protection for the last 10 years or so. It's done. I think they need to sell off their assets to some smaller Chinese company who's willing to pay. However, there's no growth driver from these multinational companies. It's innovative drugs. The government has never been so supportive on the innovative drug side. They're beefing up the approval teams, the China FDA. They are actually hiring more people, resolving more cases, which means foreign drugs can launch to China sooner and also faster. We talked to the multinational companies. They are setting up new sales force, and they are very happy with this new market opportunity, obviously.
Biosimilars, let's talk about third category now. Is that also an opportunity for them? So no more generics, innovative, that's a given. Biosimilars, that's new.
I would say on the innovative drug side, we have more conviction. For the biosimilars, I think at this time there is no biosimilar launched yet. I think there was one that was launched a few weeks ago. So the market was just at its start. The regulation, pricing, everything, it's still lack of transparency at this time. Definitely first mover, they have that advantage. However, if it's latecomer, I would say probably it would be quite crowded.
Are there any specific big foreign names that might be poised for a first mover advantage there, in your view?
At this time, we closely follow the applications to the China FDA. We didn't see something that's like a very standout yet.
I mean, everyone that talks about China healthcare, everyone's saying it's an opportunity. Break it down for us on what the best investment is. Is it still pharma? Is it biotech? Is it medical services? Is it private hospitals? I mean, where do you see the most opportunity now?
That's a great question. I mean, there are so many subsectors. If you ask me, I have to choose one. It's got to be pharma. Stick with the largest pharma guys. Either it's multinational company or if it's a domestic company. The reason is because for domestic Chinese companies, you have 3 very positive things that's going to happen in the next 10 years. Tech upgrade. They're transforming themselves from generic drugs to innovative drugs. That's a big promise. Number 2, consolidations, and the government is helping them, right? Obviously, we just mentioned it. And the policy is helping them as well because approval processes, they're helping the Chinese companies. Not saying that they just help them on the purpose. They're helping everyone with the new idea on the innovative drug side.
R&D spending, though, is already quite high as a proportion to spending. So when you move from generics to others, you need to spend more, if not already. I mean, how much room is there for them to actually spend and to realize the dream that you're mentioning?
Right. It's high in terms of their revenue because it's already probably 14, 15%. But I think in terms of absolute amount, it's nothing comparing.
Is there a benchmark? Is there an industry benchmark that you follow that might be the norm?
I think multinational companies, they also spend double-digit below 20%, but the absolute amount, it's different. You can't ask them to just kill all the earnings for next year and then just support the EPS. I think it will grow in proportion with the revenue, and I think they're doing good, the larger guys.
When it comes to biotech, though, I mean, there is a lot of hype about it, but even in Hong Kong, a lot of these IPOs that happened last year have been underwater now in terms of the stock price, I'm saying. But Why do you think investors are still so, I guess, shaken by this sector in particular?
I think the investors in Asia are still new to this sector.
Yeah.
They haven't been trained to look at clinical trial data and sort of just closely link the clinical trial data, the results, to the stock price. They're still being trained, and a lot of time, if it's difficult to understand, it always means that they will just give up, and then the lower interest will actually do negative to the stock price. But of course, I'm seeing more and more of these companies coming, and then we're seeing more buy sides, both long funds and also hedge funds get interested, and they're spending resources. I think that will improve over time.
Yeah, and as you just mentioned, and to Yvonne's point, everyone we talk to is just crazy. If you had to pick one sector, it's healthcare. If you had to pick where, it's China. It seems very crowded. There has to be a risk out there, though. If I pick the top 5 and you said it's a no-brainer, you pick the 5, they'll be the winners. What's the risk to that trade?
Right. First of all, I won't complain. I think that's good to me. Well, if you have to pick 3 names in our coverage, I will say I will pick Hengrui in Asia.
Okay.
In Hong Kong market, we'll pick Sino Biopharm and also Hansoh. All these 3 names, they're consolidated with the already very strong generic drug segment, high quality company. And they've already spent so much money in the last 10 years to accumulate a pipeline, which means in the next 5 years or so, they have very good innovative drug product catalysts.
What's the risk then to that trade?
Of course.
I can't just buy and hold and wait forever, right? There must be something there that you're looking at that might worry you at some point. What would that risk be?
First of all, you have to understand that the pricing issue in China pharma sector is going to be a new norm. So generic drugs have to cut price periodically. So there will be time-to-time correction, but I think market will get used to that because people will start to look at the consolidation and say, hey, the consolidation is actually more important than the price cut. And the large guys, they can actually prevail from this trend. So from time to time, the biggest risk is still the pricing. And I think from time to time after this rally, the correction is normal. But after all, in the longer term, the valuation is still improving. Yep.